Hi, it's Phil here from Flyte to Fancy at Pulham.
Hi, mate.
Cherry's kindly come over to see us this afternoon and bring her wonderful owls with her to have a look at our new range of owl boxes.
Yeah.
And they're all built to RSPB approved dimensions from top quality timber and in the sort of Flyte to Fancy style of something that you buy and lasts you for years and years, as opposed to something that's disposable. So although they are RSPB approved sizes and everything, we thought the biggest, best approval you could get would be an owl. And we've had Eddie and Bebo here this afternoon looking at the Eddie looking at the barn owl box, which he seemed to like very much.
Yes.
And Bebo sat up in the Tawny owl box.
So we've got Eddie. He's a male barn owl, and you can tell a male from the female because the male's got a white chest and the female's got a beigey or spotty chest. So it's quite an easy way of telling. It shows even when they're sort of 6 or 8 weeks old in the nest, you can tell what sex you've got. But, the barn owl is very much in decline, sadly. We've lost a lot of habitat. That's the main reason for decline. Also, a lot of them get killed on our roads.
Mm-hmm.
They fly low over the roads, and sadly, that is a major cause of their demise. But it's mostly habitat loss. They like rough grassland to hunt over. So if you've got a small holding, or even if you've got a large garden, if you've got a decent tree to put on one of Phil's boxes, that would be ideal because they'll roost in them in the autumn time, and then probably, if you're very lucky, start to think about nesting in them in the spring.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, and they sometimes have 2 or 3 crops. That's not the right word. Broods.
Yes.
Of babies. Yeah, not
Yes.
crops.
Yeah.
Broods.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So so you can do your bit for conservation really by making sure they've got a lovely, warm, dry home. Because they really don't survive very well out in the open air and the cold British wet winters that we have. So it's nice to give them a decent home.
We also do our own special design of little owl box, which has got a lovely secure tunnel.
They like a little tunnel to go in, don't they?
Yeah, it keeps them safe from predation,
yes,
doesn't it?
Yes, that's it. They can defend that really easily. So if
Yeah.
a jackdaw came along, they could sit at the box and then just, basically fire their feet out at them and protect themselves. So that's an excellent design.
All our boxes have got brass hinges on them so that the hinges aren't going to fall to bits when you go and inspect them sort of once a year. Don't forget, you're not allowed to inspect a barn owl box that is occupied. It's illegal. So keep your eye open for droppings and this sort of thing.
Yeah, and often when you've got a site that's occupied, you'll probably, certainly with a barn owl, you'll probably see pellets below, and you'll probably obviously see the barn owls coming in and out, and that's the time really to back off and just sort of leave them to it. But that's the tempting thing, is to be a bit nosy, but really you've just got to leave them to get on.
So you've
with
done
it.
the good bit. You've given them somewhere to go. You've just got to leave them alone to do it then. And watch from a distance.
Yeah.
And feel pleased with yourself.
Yeah. But and I'm often asked about the owl box sighting. That was the thing that we were going to mention.
Yeah.
And really with the barn owl, it needs to be in a tree, or ideally in or around a barn, probably, east or north? That was the sort of thing that I was always sort of told. And high enough up so a cat can't get to it, but not so high that it can't be cleaned out or inspected at some point.
There's something that you do have to consider when you're putting up something the size of a tawny owl box or a barn owl box. You're putting it up quite high, 3 metres plus or something like that. So at all times, bear in mind that it can be dangerous. It's a 2-person job. You may have to get a little tower in or something.
They're substantial things, the owl boxes. They're
made to last.
Made to last. They need to be heavy. But yes, you certainly need a small sort of, you know, a couple of you at least.
Yes,
Don't you?
yeah, absolutely,
Good
absolutely,
fixings.
yeah. And make sure you've got a good stout ladder.
Yeah, but yes, and site them where they're not going to get disturbed. I mean, owls are very sensitive to disturbance, all the owls, so it needs to be in a really quiet spot where, you know, you're not going to go and visit your tractor or whatever
No,
else,
that's right.
you know, it's...
The barn owl box wants to be quite close to somewhere with an open vista. doesn't it?
absolutely, yes,
Open
ideally,
fields
yes,
or
over
something like that.
farmland,
And a
ideally.
distance away from main roads.
Oh yes, definitely, yes, probably as far as you can get away from the main road.
Yeah, yeah.
Because obviously if they fly low of the road hunting, they're going to get killed.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's, yes, ideally that would be perfect.
And the tawny boxes again, sort of 3 metres plus up.
Yeah,
But in a tree or something, and
yeah, ideally.
yeah, with a nice bit of sort of woodland around.
Yes, that would be perfect.
Ideal
Yes, because they're
hunting.
woodland species.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and probably with the little owl box, they like very similar habitat to the barn owl.
Right.
So, but you know, you could pop them in a woodland, but they really like sort of hunting where the barn owls will hunt.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's something I've learned today.
Yeah, so they like, you know, they like a garden. You could even put one of these in a large garden.
We've actually got one up on our willow tree.
Oh, okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't had anything visited yet,
No.
other than the odd starling.
Yeah.
But we live in hope, cross fingers. You know, if you don't put something up for them, then
Exactly.
you know they
Well,
won't
you're
come.
never gonna know,
That's
are you?
right, yeah,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
right, yes, absolutely. So it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And,
Tell us all about Bebo.
yeah, okay. Well, Bebo's a female tawny owl. She's also 11 years old.
Really?
And the female tawny owl is about a third bigger than the male. So she's a fair bit bigger than when you see a small tawny, it'll be a male tawny. She probably might live to 30 odd years in captivity.
Wow.
A friend of mine had one that she rescued and that lived to 33 years.
Nearly as old as me.
So yeah, so I've had Bebo since she was a week old.
Really?
So she's really imprinted.
Yeah.
She couldn't be released back into the wild. She's been bred from wild disabled birds. So her mum and dad were both sort of victims of car accidents. Obviously owls fly very low over roads and things and often get sort of injured and killed. And there aren't any actually licences to release the ones that are bred in captivity.
Right. So is this the most common?
This is the most
owl
common,
in the
yeah.
UK?
So there's about 50,000 pairs
Really?
in the UK, whereas the poor old barn owls really in decline. There's probably only 5,000 or 6,000 pairs, and that's the latest figure. So yeah, the tawnies doing okay. They're keeping an eye on the tawny population because basically, you know, it's still a bit of concern losing, you know, a lot of habitats and
yeah,
things.
yeah.
So
What's the purpose of that membrane then?
okay. It's like giving another talk, isn't
There
it?
we go.
Okay. Well, the purpose of that membrane is really, one, it cleans the eye because they haven't got tear ducts. Okay, and baby. And also, when they're hunting, because these will, the tawnies will even hunt rats.
Right.
And rats is quite capable
Yes,
of,
quite
you know,
defending itself.
Yeah, so that's another line of defence. So if that membrane got damaged, it wouldn't be as catastrophic as if
The eye being
yeah,
damaged,
yeah.
Right.
So that's one or two reasons.
That's quite a ferocious bird then, if it'll take on a rat, isn't
Oh
it?
yes,
You know,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Oh yeah. You also judge a bird of prey by its talons.
Yes, yes.
And of course, you know, it's quite good equipment in that department.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's looking very happy there.
You're very happy, aren't you? Well, Bebo seems to approve,
She does.
which is nice. All right, just to thank Cherry Barlow from Blackmore Vale Owls, who's come over to see us this afternoon with her beautiful owls, Eddie and Bebo, to have a look at our owl boxes. We thought, what better thank you could we give you them an owl box?
Wow, that was a fabulous surprise when you told me, Phil. I thought, wow, it's amazing.
Well,
yeah,
we
that's
thought
beautiful.
you could either use it to raise funds or maybe a new home for Eddie.
I think it might be a new home for Eddie,
Yeah,
actually.
but this is actually one of our prototype boxes. This is
Yeah.
one of the first ones that we built.
Yeah.
And so we finished it in a nice moss green for you.
Yeah, lovely.
And so thank you so much
Well, thank
for coming
you,
and seeing us.
Phil.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Right, cold hands.
I am
It's not
bloody
warm
cold.
in here.
No, that's lovely. Thank you,
Good.
Phil. Thank you. That's brilliant.
If you want to know more about Cherry Barlow and her Blackmore Vale owls, and then go onto her Facebook
Yeah,
page.
I've got a Facebook page so you can see what I do. I do talks and little photo sessions for people, and also I visit care homes and schools. So just trying to educate people about owls, really. That's my mission.
Great stuff. And if you'd like to buy some of our owl boxes, you can go on to www.flytesofancy.co.uk, where there are lots of pictures of our owl boxes and lots of other bird boxes as well, and loads of useful information and tips about where to site them and knowledge about the owls and the birds. And we've been so privileged to have a real expert here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for watching today's video. If you'd like any further information on any of the products we've mentioned, please look in the description below where there are links. If you would like to see some more product videos or Ask Phil videos, click here, and don't forget to subscribe.